What's up? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button, and if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this beautifully honest reaction.
Talk to me nice, talk to me honestly. Look in my eyes, don't let it fall on me. Say you're a good guy, make me believe it. Don't wanna hear it, I wanna see it. See how rewind, when we rewind, feels so nice.
Hey, what's up, guys? Listen, it's been a minute since I have talked about Derrick Jaxn over here, and Tasha K recently shared some information with regard to this clown, this creep who had been pretty much cheating on his wife the entirety of their relationship, but had the nerve to be doing these videos in the car in plain view, I believe, in some of the videos. I never followed him, but back in the day when he was really popping, even if you didn't follow him, if you're scrolling through YouTube, you might every now and then see a video of his in your feed. I never watched any of his videos. So anytime I would see anything about this clown, it was always somebody else discussing him. And that's the only reason why I even knew who he was. But there was a child seat, most videos in clear view in the back seat. But, it probably was purposely placed there so it could seem to the women that was watching that he's, this very caring father who is responsible and taking care, of his responsibilities, but yet he never exposed to those women that he was actually married. But I digress. It's come out recently that his ex-wife, Danae, she's saying that he wants her to drop their last name. Now, they have children together. They were married for years. And I personally feel that it's a personal decision on a woman what she wants to do. Because even if you are married, I don't believe that you should have to take that man's last name if you don't want to. It's, you know what I mean? But with all of that being said, let's just get into the info that Tasha K shared about this situation.
Jackson. So apparently, word on the block is, according to Danae, she's saying that Mr. Derrick Jaxn wants her to drop his last name. Okay. He goes, according to Atlanta Black Star News, the former fans of relationship guru Derrick Jaxn are accusing him of trying to control his ex-wife. Now, the mother of three recently went public with new claims about him pestering her to shed her marital surname following their 2022 divorce. So they've been divorced since 2022, and now he's saying it's 2025, I need my name back. They got two kids that we had to tell y'all about because he never told y'all, and for some reason y'all didn't think he had kids, even though he made videos for years with a car seat in the back. And
Didn't I just say that? Didn't I just say that? Anyway, let's continue.
Tell y'all nothing about it, but was trying to tell y'all how to treat yours and your baby daddy and everything. Meanwhile, he was around here exemplifying every man. And all the black men out here was trying to tell y'all, but y'all ain't want to listen. And there was a lot of vulnerable women in his DM that DM'd him that ended up digging it, that he ended up digging down, all because he inspired you. Sleeping with women on this lady bed, picture right there, wife right there, and you as a woman, whoever you are, because there was a few of y'all out here that proceeded to sleep with him knowing that he was married when you got to that house. And now,
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, if you were in the house, then you clearly knew that he was at least in a relationship with someone else, even if you didn't know he was married, because maybe he wasn't wearing his ring. But I'm quite sure there were pictures of them in that house from the wedding.
he don't want to no more. And he don't want her to have a name regardless of their kids having the same name. How dare you, you tight pant wearing, jock itch having mother. Oh my God. So here's the thing. I get that this can be a little disturbing to his brand because he's still trying to build, and he lost a television show and everything. He blames it on me. Now,
Isn't that like the villain? They want to blame the person that just exposed what you were doing. These women came out and they did these interviews with Tasha K One, I believe, was on camera, one, I believe, was just the audio. But yeah, they gave blow by blow, play by play info, details of their affairs with this clown. So because these women decided to speak, now it's Sasha K's fault that he lost deals and brands and opportunities, but you were a fraud.
Naya is online doing this here. Here's a video. So this is what he's embarrassed about. This is why he wants her to drop the last name, because she keeps putting up these videos dancing. It's the bonnet of salvation on. She wears armored clothes, so like she's a soldier for God. You know, she's ready. That's why she got the bow and arrow to fight off any type of bad spirits or anything like that. So she's ready to take on any demons, and it's infringing on the brand that he lost years ago for lying, for not being authentic.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, she might look touched and a little bit, Looney Tunes, but I mean, think about how she just put that, because that is the truth. He's saying that what she's doing and still carrying his last name is infringing on potential opportunities that he could have in the present and the future, but not taking into account his actions that put him in the position that he's in right now. And clearly, the woman definitely has some issues. I blame partly the churches that she was going to, because if you saw footage of her from some of those church services that she attended, she was definitely in some like cult like atmospheres. And guys, in my content that I've been doing, my holy mess content that I've been doing over here, I've talked about this. There are levels to cults. Not every cult is the extreme where you're leaving house and home, family that don't believe the same thing that you believe. You're going off to some secluded area of either a state in this country or maybe another country, like they did with Jonestown, where they went to Guyana, South America, and then over 2,000 people, I believe it was. It could be over 1,000. I can't remember at this point in time. I've watched too many of those documentaries. I should remember, but either way, I don't care if it was 100 people lost their lives, some by force, meaning they either got shot up with these needles that had cyanide laced Kool-Aid in it, or they drunk cyanide laced Kool-Aid, or some of them actually were taken out by weapons, if you get my drift. But anyway, I'm saying there are levels to cults. Some of these churches are cults, and the behavior that she's exemplifying online, she got some of that from some of those churches that she was going to. So I believe part of what her issues is what she had been indulging in and receiving going to these different churches. And also she was just so worshiping at the altar of Derrick Jaxn, this what she thought, beauty's an eye of the beholder, so I'll just say that, this fine man that got this body and he's mine, this is my husband. You know what I mean? And so worshiping at that altar, and for him to do her the way that he did her, I'm quite sure that broke her into smithereens. So you have all of those factors, and now you got this woman doing what she was doing, that little clip that Tasha K showed of her dancing with whatever that was she had on and doing some sort of rituals, like weird. And none of that has anything to do with God.
And he feels that it's embarrassing him. Now he's due to get married again here shortly to the stripper girl.
Now, ain't that something? They have definitely been turning that narrative around when they say you can't make a whole housewife, because he's he's definitely one of those people that I guess is looking to do that.
Pinky, I said, I cannot believe this. Yeah, but that's what he's always wanted. You know, some men just like hoes, but I just feel like this. I know that this can be embarrassing to you, Derrick, but you got to understand, you embarrassed her for a long time.
Exactly. So the audacity of him to feel like, yeah, even though we have children together and we were married for years, I don't want you carrying my last name anymore because it's infringing on my opportunities. He doesn't deserve to have any opportunities. Like, ridiculous, right? The audacity to feel like she doesn't deserve to carry his last name anymore, but he can't make her do that. He can't make her. He legally cannot make her do that. So I say keep the last name, because if you want to look like something that's better than what you were, build yourself back up better. Don't try to disassociate yourself from her, because you'll always be connected to her, even when the children that they've had together grow up and they're 45 and 35 years old, respectively. I don't know how old the children are. I don't know if they're 10 years apart, but I'm just saying. So who freaking cares? He can't make her drop that last name. If I were her, I'd keep the last name, because it's actually what has helped her to gain the following that she does have. So I say use it to the fullest extent. But anyway, guys, you let me know what you think in the comments about this crazy situation. Derrick Jaxn is a whole fool. So speaking of old fools, and I'm just going to say it like this, I'm going to say it how I feel it. I feel like Tyler Perry is an old fool, because I know there are a lot of people that are saying they don't believe Derrick Dixon. They don't believe the allegations. Why were you in this man's bed? Oh, you got all of these opportunities working underneath him. It was fine until this happened or that happened. And now you want to come out and sue him for $260 million, and you want to come out here and do this interview. But the thing about it is, guys, either, even if all of those things might be true, you cannot take away this one fact. This is an employment situation, because Tyler Perry was Derrick Dixon's boss. So we're not speaking about just some dude who Tyler Perry was randomly hanging out with and helping out, and then just decided to hook him up with some money and buy a car for him, and he could come over to the crib anytime he felt like it, and they would watch Netflix and chill and do, that type of stuff. No, this was someone that Tyler Perry was hiring, not hiring, that he was employing. He hired him, he employed him, he met him by way of some catering company that Derrick Dixon was working for at the time, and spotted him, put his eyes on him, felt like he was some nice eye candy, and then decided to speak with him. And then from there, sparks flew and whatever. But now that this guy, it's not just a lawsuit and just some quotes. This is him actually speaking in a big time interview on one of the morning news networks. So I believe Tyler Perry is going to wind up settling with this guy. This is, prime time ABC News, and they have the words exclusive. Tyler Perry, he could try to string him along for a little while and maybe go back and forth, but I don't believe Tyler Perry wants to deal with the discovery process of this litigation. And it's definitely less expensive to settle, to mediate and to settle, than it is to litigate. But by all means, if someone is not guilty of anything and they have the money to fight it, by all means do that. But this is an employment situation. Tyler Perry should have never went there. I'm sorry. So this is not me trying to root for Derrick Dixon and hoping that he gets the bag and whatever. I don't believe he's going to get $260 million, but this is common. You ask for a very high amount and you hope to get somewhere in the middle when you come to a point where you're talking about settling. So that is common. That's what they do in the legal field when you're talking about civil suits. You aim for a high amount and you hope that you're going to get somewhere in the middle or close to it, because that's what you do. You don't go in there aiming low. Like that just doesn't work, because you've got the attorney's fees, you've got all of the other stuff. Filing a lawsuit, that really costs no money. That's not that big of a deal. But what I'm saying is, and it's funny they use this picture where he looks a little bit stressed. They know what they're doing. Jasmine Brand, I see you. But yeah, let's just play a little bit of this.
Can you explain that first alleged incident?
I got into bed and then I noticed that he climbed into bed with me as well and started rubbing my leg. And I jumped up out of bed. Unless someone's been through something where they have their control over their bodies taken away, you don't really understand the kind of feelings that you get in that moment.
Can you explain that first alleged incident?
I got into bed and then I noticed that he climbed into bed with me as well and started rubbing my leg. and I jumped up out of bed. Unless someone's been through something where they have their control over their bodies taken away, you don't really understand the kind of feelings that you get in that moment.
So listen, guys, and here's the thing. I get it. People say, "Oh, he looks buff. He looks strong. Why did you take that? What did you do? Why were you in his bed?" Now, if you read the entire lawsuit, which was pretty lengthy, he says how they had been drinking and Tyler Perry pretty much insisted that he stay there. Clearly, he was staying in one of the guest bedrooms. Clearly, Tyler Perry was not living in some studio apartment or a one bedroom or two bedroom, garden apartment. Clearly. So it's obvious he was staying in another room. He didn't expect he's speaking, and in the lawsuit he's stating that it was a shock to him. He did not expect that to happen. He just realized this dude climbed into bed with him and started touching his leg. I was like, hold up, wait a minute. So it's easy for people to say, why did you take that? Why didn't you fight him? Why didn't you leave? This and that and the other. If things happen the way that Derrick is claiming that they did, and I do believe him, that's my personal opinion to do, and I do believe this, Tyler Perry was wrong because he already had the position of power being Derrick Dixon's employer, period. So again, we're not just talking about two random guys that were hanging out that's now wanting to sue Tyler Perry for harassment and sexual assault. This is a situation where he was the person in the position of power, and you just can't do that. Harvey Weinstein is in prison right now for that similar situation, although multiples, and it took a while for them to get to him being in the place that he is right now. And I believe he's fighting to get out, and shoot, he just might. You never know. But I'm saying you just can't do that. You can't. And the other thing too, when it came to Cassie, I believe what helped her even more so in her situation, even though she had a lot of proof and evidence in her civil suit. And let's remember, civil litigation, the bar is lower. It's the preponderance of the evidence. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt, where it helped her in her case. And we know Diddy settled within a 24-hour period. That was quick, fast, and in a hurry. Tyler Perry, because he's got a lot at stake, right? I'm not saying Sean Combs, Diddy did not, but Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey are best friends. You know what I mean? So it behooves him to drag it out a little bit longer, but I believe he's going to eventually settle because he was in the position of power. He was the employer. That never should have happened, period. Period. He never should have even went there. Out of all of the men, and I'm saying men because I believe that definitely is Tyler Perry's preference. And I'm not sitting here to make fun of it. I'm just saying, out of all of the men in Atlanta and all the surrounding areas, and even just throughout the nation that were not employed by Tyler Perry Studios, he couldn't find somebody that would have just been his boy toy, or multiple people that would have been his boy toys. And you just got to keep them well fed and make sure they got a place to stay, something nice to drive, eating okay. And you have them sign some documentation. Nobody would have known anything. He chose to go there with somebody that was working for his studios. So he already messed up there, period. Period. So even if Derrick Dixon is exaggerating a little bit, I don't believe the man is lying. He was the one that was in the position where he was the employee and Tyler Perry was the employer. And there are rules, there are laws, there are stipulations, there are things with regards to the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and the Labor Relations Board, LLR, not LLR, I can't remember. But anyway, it's been a long time. I was a legal assistant for years, many years ago. And the first law firm that I ever worked in, I worked in for 5.5 years, and it was an employment and labor law firm. where we represented the employees. There's just certain things you should not do. And him being in the position that he was, not just being the employer, but having so much at stake and so much that he could lose, he should have just never even went there. Admire from afar, maybe even salivate and admire up close, but he never should have touched. He never should have went there. So I believe Tyler Perry is going to wind up paying, because this isn't the lawsuit is bad enough, but now that he's speaking out and he's doing these primetime interviews on these big major news networks, ABC News, yeah, I believe the man is going to eventually get paid. It's just a matter of time. But anyway, guys, I want to know what you think about it. So let me know your thoughts about Derrick Jaxn and his ex-wife, Tyler Perry's accuser, Derrick Dixon, and I believe he's definitely going to wind up settling. I don't know when, but I believe he's definitely going to settle, because it's just not a good look. He should have never went there with that guy, period. And I don't believe the guy was lying. It would have to be everything that he's saying is a lie for Tyler Perry to win this case if it went to a trial. So you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment. Thanks for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.